Hello, I'm Jane Torres, and this is our GoVoteMiami voter registration training video. Hopefully, by the end of this training, you'll know why voter registration is an important part of your job. It's really easy and quick to register someone to vote. You start by asking, "Are you registered to vote?" Even if they say yes, it's important to ask if they've moved or changed their name or need to update their signature since they last registered or voted. If they are not registered or if they need to update their registration, this is the time to offer your support and further assist them. So here's how it might go.
Thank you so much for coming in today. But I have one last question. Have you registered to vote, or do you need to update your voter registration?
Well, I am registered, but I just moved last month. Do I have to register again?
Yes, the Department of Elections needs to have your current information. So you need to update your voter registration. That way you can vote in your new neighborhood. Also, on your voter registration card, you can see who represents you in your district.
Actually, I've decided to change my party affiliation. So another reason to update my voter registration.
If anything has changed, whether it's your name, your signature, your party affiliation, even your address, you need to update your voter registration. It's simple, and it'll only take a few minutes.
Oh, okay.
And please tell all your friends. One of our staff members will be happy to help them update their registration as well.
Simple enough.
Sometimes when a client sees forms in front of them, they say something like, "Oh no, I don't have time for this." So your job is basically to reassure them it will take less than 5 minutes because they really only have to fill out numbers 1 through 7 and number 12 on the voter registration form. And you reassure them that you will be happy to help by answering any questions they might have. Hopefully that's all you'll need to do, but in case they need more encouragement, you might tell them why their vote is important to their lives. Some examples of that might be that voters, and they can become a voter if they register, elect the people who decide how much funding libraries get, what public transportation is available, whether health clinics are open on weekends. They also decide who can use Medicaid and many other services important to all of us. So let's get a little more specific. When offering voter registration, we actually offer 2 forms, the voter registration form and the vote-by-mail application. This is really important because voter participation almost doubles when people vote by mail. So not only do we encourage every citizen to register, we also encourage and make it easy for them to vote from their home or place of work. Once they have completed the vote-by-mail ballot, you can tell them that they can mail it or deliver it to any of the early voting locations in the county, or they can drop it off on Election Day at their assigned voting location. Some voters might be skeptical about voting by mail, but the Elections Department is a strong supporter of vote by mail and has recently made several changes to the regulations to make voting this way even more safe and convenient. Now, let's look at the voter registration form. At the very top of the form, even before question number 1, we need to determine why they are filling out this form. Is it a new registration? Is this a change of address? Is this an update to their name, signature, or party affiliation? Then we go to question number 1. It asks if they are a citizen because only citizens of the United States can register to vote. Although you have to be 18 to vote, 16 and 17-year-olds can pre-register so they are ready to vote when they turn 18. This is a great way to encourage young people and inform them about voting and civic engagement. Question 2 asks whether they have been convicted of a felony. This question was recently updated based on Amendment 4. Now they have 3 options. They need to affirm they have never been convicted of a felony, or if they have been convicted of a felony, they have had their voting rights restored by the Board of Executive Clemency, or if they have been convicted of a felony, that their voting rights have been restored based on Amendment 4, which currently means that they can register if all parts of their sentence have been completed. Question 3 asks if the potential voter is of sound mind. Usually they just mark yes, but if they ask for clarification, you can explain that this question wants to know if their right to vote has been revoked by a judge. If so, the applicant is not allowed to register. Question 4. Even before they start filling out question 4, which asks for their date of birth, please point out that the format is first the month, then the date, then the year. Here in number 5, which asks for an ID, applicants can give either their Florida driver's license or their Florida ID card number, or they can use the last 4 digits of their Social Security number. Only one of these is necessary. If the applicant does not remember their Social Security number or driver's license or ID card number, they can check the box, "I have none," and the supervisor of elections will follow up with them to get the information. This is possible, but not recommended. Question number 6 is pretty self-explanatory. It asks for their name. Last, first, middle, and please ask the future voter to print their name. Question number 7. When they get to this question, please point out that it asks for the county they live in. One of the most frequent mistakes on this form is that many applicants put their country, not county. So it might be helpful to advise them before they answer question 7 that they must write the county they live in. Please double check this. Question number 8 is voluntary unless the applicant doesn't get their mail at their home address, in which case field number 8 becomes mandatory. We want to know where they received their mail. Questions 9 through 11 are voluntary, so you can help them with these questions if they want to answer them. Let's look at what the questions are. Although their contact information is not mandatory, it can be very helpful. So you can say something like, "Since you took the time to fill out this form, we want to make sure you receive your voter registration card so you can vote in the next election. By giving your contact information, the Department of Elections can contact you if there is a problem with your signature or zip code, for example." Here are some of the fields that are voluntary. Although the question of party affiliation is also voluntary, you may tell them why it might be important to choose a major party. So you could say something like, "In Florida, we have what are called closed primaries, which means that only registered Republicans and registered Democrats can vote in partisan state and national primary elections. No party affiliation voters, those who have not chosen a major party, cannot vote in partisan primary elections. The primaries are where candidates for the general election are decided. Therefore, if you want to be part of the selection process for a candidate, it's important to be able to vote in the primary election. After all, voting in the primaries is really the first step in the democratic election process." You can also reassure them that registering for one party or another does not mean that they have to vote for the Democratic or Republican candidates in the general election. They can, of course, vote for whichever candidates they want in the general election. Next, you will see why it's important to choose a party affiliation. As you can see, all the people in the middle who have not chosen a major party affiliation have no voice in statewide and national primary elections. No party affiliation voters are allowing others to choose which candidates will be on the ballot in the general election. Question number 12 is the signature and dates field. This registration is not valid without a signature and today's date. The signature should be as close to the one on the ID that they used in number 5. Then, make sure to check that the form has been completed. And before they finish, you might suggest they take a photo of the application for their records. Don't forget to include the vote by mail application as well. It's one of the best ways to increase the chances that the person you just registered will really vote. Now let's take a minute to review what we've just covered. First of all, you've got to engage the potential voter. A smile and offer to help register can make a big difference. Just imagine how you would respond if I say, "Hey, you have to register to vote." Or, "Hi, I'd like to help you register to vote or update your registration if you'd like to." We must use blue or black ink to fill out the form. We cannot influence them. You can answer questions about the form, but not what they should choose. So we can explain the question about party affiliation, for example, but not tell them which party to choose. Try not to have any corrections, but if you need to make a correction, ask the applicant to correct the mistake and initial the correction. Sign and date, and please check all the information carefully. And that's all, folks. So please be sure to congratulate the applicant you just helped to become a registered voter. This is an exciting step for many people. Give them handouts or other information you might have about upcoming elections. Tell them they will receive their voter registration card within 2 to 3 weeks. But if they have not received it by then, please tell them to follow up with the Department of Elections, and you'll have that information in your resource material at your desk. You can point out that their voter registration card will say what district and precinct they live in, so they will know where to vote and who their legislators are. Knowing who represents them on the school board, community council, in Tallahassee, and in Washington will allow them to tell their representatives what's important to them. That is how democracy is meant to work. Here are some ways to get more information on voting, elections, candidates, and issues in Florida. You can suggest they tell others that they've just registered to vote, that it's very easy and quick, and that it is part of being a responsible American citizen. Thank you for watching this video and for making our democracy and country stronger by allowing more people to have their voices heard. You can make a difference.